Hi and welcome to a new review and preview video I've got for a brand new project for the channel. I'll be reviewing a couple of newish kits. The first is Gero Designs building. I've been sent another one of their wooden laser cut kits, which I've built a couple of in the past, including my last diorama, and they're really nice. So I'll be putting that together and seeing how it goes. The second is Stalingrad Miniature's excellent new set of 5 figures. It's a group of 3 young German soldiers surrendering to a couple of Russian soldiers during the late stages of the war. It's one of those figure sets as soon as I thought I had to buy and build a diorama around. So we'll take a look at these before I go on to preview and describe how I'm thinking of putting this diorama together, explain some other kits I might be using, and show some reference photos. So this kit just comes in a simple single cardboard box, and when you open up, all the kit parts just come in a clear plastic bag. So inside the box comes 4 wooden wall sections, 2 identical ones, so that's obviously for the front side wall, and then the main wall itself, again in 2 pieces, and that just eventually glued together to double up in thickness. We've also got the doors and a little window that goes into one of the doors, because there's 2 door sections, and then all the little detail pieces come together. This one's broken up a little bit, that's me taking it out of the bag, but all the sections are there for the windows and the frames around the windows on the outside, all the little details, and including the sign for the wall itself, because as this is a butcher shop. And we've also got here this larger triangle here is for the roof, so that will all be glued together. There's no instructions with the kit, but it's all quite straightforward, and it's probably the easiest wooden kit that I've done, so it shouldn't take too long to put together. We've got some clear plastic, and this will go in obviously for the windows, a large piece there, and then these are the roof tiles, which many of their kits have, and they just all come off and they'll be glued onto the roof. So that's pretty simple. So nice little kit, like I say, no instructions, but easy enough to put together, which we'll start doing now. Okay, so now the pieces are cut out. They came out pretty easy. It's time to put them in place. As you can see, this is the outside wall, the exterior of the 2 walls. They've already left you with markings so you know where everything is going to go. So for example, these pieces will just sit in there, and then the larger windows they will go there, and that will just get glued in place. I usually either use PVA or wood glue just to put those cardboard places in situ. The wooden sign for the shop, the butchers, will go across, and likewise for the lower one. Obviously it just has to be cut out there for where the door frames will go. As I said, there's no instructions with the kit, but it's all quite straightforward. I did refer back to the website a couple of times just to make sure I knew where everything was going. So now it's just a case of putting everything in place. So as you can see, it's quite a nice building once it's all put together, after you've figured out where all the parts go. I've only temporarily put the roof tiles on to show the overall finish, and the reason for that I'll explain later. The interior is just left plain whether you want to do anything with that or not, and the exterior itself, it lacks any real texture, especially compared to other plastic or plaster kits available such as brickwork. But one advantage over the plaster it does have, it's really light in weight. Dimensions as well you can see here. I've got an idea how to use this in my next diorama, which I'll explain shortly, but first I'll take a more detailed look at those new resin figures. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the set of 5 Stalingrad figures, open up the boxes and see what each of them contain inside. Some will have accessories with them, which will help with the details of the diorama, and some I think will be pretty much already made up as complete figures, maybe with just some arms and their heads to attach. So this is what I've got planned for the layout of the diorama using these products which we've just looked at. The positioning of the coins is where I'm planning to add another 6 Stalingrad figures, including a couple of German casualties, 2 more German POWs and a couple of Russian soldiers. The 20mm flat gun I've liberated from an old diorama which I made quite a few years ago, which I'm planning to disassemble and reuse some elements, for example the flat gun on here and then the rest for some future dioramas. I'm unsure yet whether to leave the flat gun on or off the limber. Here for example is what it looks like with it on, but I'm perhaps tending more to think of leaving it this way in a more permanent fixed position with some sandbags and some ammunition just to have a little setup like that. The second building on the right is also a Gero Design kit. I've got a build video for this one too on my channel, which I made about a year ago maybe, and I'll leave the link in the notes below. I'm planning on building a barricade going across the street where this little black block is here. I made one for my Berlin diorama from scratch, so it looks something like this. However, I might mix up with some different type of woods, and I'll also have some damage to it from that's come from a shell, which was resulting in the casualties that will be on the floor. The butcher shop I've only actually temporarily put together for a reason. I'm going to give it some battle damage. I'm going to put a little bit on the roof and take a chunk out of the corner here. The two buildings will be completely sealed off at the back with cardboard or wood. But for the damaged part in the front, I'm going to build a little box interior room just to put inside, fully furnished and visible from the outside. The exterior of this one as well, I'm thinking of adding some texture to it, perhaps some concrete texture, something like that, just to give it a bit more interest instead of just painting the wood. So there's a little bit to think about there. I've got some kits from Miniart as usual to add in some details. I've got some furniture for that box room for the building, the pigeons for the roofs, and some nice German street signs. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and perhaps got something out of it. Any thoughts and ideas or suggestions, very welcome in the comments below. I'll keep updates on the build on my Instagram and Facebook pages, and I'll start our first proper video for this build very soon. Thanks for watching.